200,000 square feet to fill. Niagara has 148,000 of that. So it's a 414,000 square foot facility, and they're looking to make a deal with our IDA, which is another county, separate but county affiliated agency that provides pilots, which is payment in lieu of taxes. Again, this gets so complicated. So to be specific, Startup New York, we don't know. We keep following it. When we hear from the president that Niagara was not selected, we'll know that's over. So we're hitting it 1 month at a time, and that's what our petition is about tonight, is we're trying to really hit it hard again, because we weren't sure if Niagara was going to pursue their public scoping document and submitting it to the Town of Ulster. And I'm sorry for some of these terms. But so what we know is that in February they're delivering their their draft scoping document, which in seeker outlines what they propose, the environmental, how do you say, the impacts and what types of studies will be necessary. Once that document hits, we're also pushing for 60 days of public comment. They're giving us 30. We just got the City of Kingston to approve a resolution for 80 in the City of Kingston, but the Town of Ulster has the final say. So we are waiting for the scoping document, at which point the clock ticks. If we get 60 days, then residents, not-for-profits, agencies can all look at it and make their comments to improve the scoping document, at which point the studies begin. So, you know, in some cases, projects that actually fit, are a good fit, move pretty swiftly. Projects that are more complicated, it could go a year, it could go 10 years. It depends on how determined Niagara is to get into this area, and how reasonable everyone is to do what's right by the site and the water.
Do we have any support from elected officials?
We do.
In terms of stopping this as compared to supporting it?
We do, and it's because the public has really been organized to help to be heard. Their voices are heard. Our petitions and our meetings, and it's all on Kingston Citizens. You can see the first 2 public meetings. We just organized them. We got everybody a chance to speak in front of the Common Council. It was the first opportunity we had. When we learned, I think I spent a week promoting it, and 400 people showed up. And then they did it again, and then 400 more people, or 450, whatever, it kept growing. And as we know, that gets people's attention. And that's what we continue to do, and we're looking to build more capacity through creating ways for the public at very important times to come together and make, you know, one clear message to the elected official in whatever way it is. And because this project has so many moving parts, it's super important to stay on point with that. And that's what we're trying to do as a group.
First of all, Rebecca, I really applaud you for what you're doing, not just about water in general, but the process, as you mentioned, why you formed Kingston Citizens.org.
Yeah.
In the first place is really about transparency of the process and access to the process and what democracy is about. When you say things like, you know, they signed a non-disclosure agreement, a lot of people don't realize that still occurs, and we think that we have access to everything. So I have a kind of bigger question. It was addressed in the beginning of the film, this idea of, is water a right or a commodity? And it seems to me that we're going to keep having all these fights, and thankfully, you know, people are willing to step up. But just as air is our right to breathe, we wouldn't imagine a company coming in and saying, you know what, we own oxygen, and you're all going to have to wear tanks, and if you want to breathe from the tank, you're going to have to pay us. And we would think that's
Well, it's
ridiculous,
the same thing. It's the
right?
same
It's
thing.
the same thing.
So, right.
Is there any hope on the horizon for the big picture, for somewhere for it to be said that, you know what, this is a right, this is not a commodity, and companies can sell bottled water?
Well, so there are people who are far better aware of how the public trust doctrine works than I am. I'm on the ground. I'm on the front line with just following the day-to-day operations, and every day is like I was telling Eli, it's like Christmas morning. 3 new things show up, and it's, oh my God, our strategy is changing. It's like that every day. It's very interesting, and we should all be really hopeful, because I think there's a lot we haven't done that we can do, and that it's our responsibility. Beyond blaming elected officials, it's really about taking responsibility for where we live and the things that we have and taking care of them. So water is a public right, and that's my feeling, and I don't think it's just my feeling. The public trust doctrine is actually an interesting document to take up as a student, and I know that what I understand about the public trust doctrine, that's an ancient law of protecting water, is that in order for it to be implemented in New York State, it has to be tested, and it hasn't yet. So that is something that we all want to, over on our side, want to learn more about, and we have, but we're all volunteers, and we have many experts. I mean, the talent in our neighborhoods is immense, and as is true everywhere. And we're tapping into our talent, but it's a process. So the public trust doctrine is an interesting read, and I encourage you to look into it, and perhaps that's a project right there to see. But there's a lot in place to protect us. We just have to understand what it is. And whatever is missing, we need to rewrite it, rework it, reform. And to me, that's exciting work.
So as just a quick follow-up, in addition to signing the petition, what is one thing that everybody here can do immediately to take action to help, move this cause forward?
Well, if you're interested in this proposal, then you follow KingstonCitizens.org to get information on Niagara. Signing this petition is a big help tonight, and it's the text outlines all of the reasons why tax abatements are wrong for this project. In the case of the grant, just so you know, in all fairness, we didn't say don't award Niagara this money. We said go through the process, and if they're approved, reapply. Don't hold $11 million up for a year when that can be applied to other things that are important to the communities. And from what I understand, and it's not confirmed, but there was a lot of money being moved around because Niagara was not awarded. Some of that, I understand, went to some of the arts in the area, which made us really happy. But, I think that what we can do on our own is to start really looking inside of our local government. How does your government run? What form of government rules your municipality or your town, your city? This is something that we do not pay attention to. And in Kingston's case, it's really, we have a charter that was reformed in '93 for city manager form of government, which I'm a big advocate for, because elected officials, there are no qualifications, and it's unconstitutional for there to be qualifications for an elected official. So you're essentially elected into office by popular vote. In our case, with a city of roughly 24,000 people, you may or may not be qualified to run a $36 million budget, but you're elected into office anyway. And with a city manager, you're a public administrator. You eat, breathe, sleep this stuff, and there's a continuity, and you really run your city. And then your elected officials are your council. I mean, certainly elected officials are critical, but I'm not sure how critical it is in cities our size in higher office. So get to know how your city works, locate your water source, and I think that's a really great place to begin. There's so much you can do, but that's a good step as just a citizen and as a civically engaged person.